All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm First Alert Meteorologist CJ Cartledge here, hopping onto this stream just to tell you guys a quick little weather update on what we can expect throughout your Valentine's Day. Once again, we are expecting some strong to severe storms here around the Arklatex, mainly during the afternoon and into this evening here. But most of these storms shouldn't reach the multitude or the pretty much most of the Arklatex until we reach the middle to late afternoon hours. Most of these storms should stay in areas around I-30 and northward until around 3 p.m. And then it should race across the rest of the region as we move towards the later afternoon and into the early evening and into some parts of the overnight hours for tonight. And just to give you guys a basis of it, the storm should finally leave until by the time we hit at the latest around 11, maybe even 12 a.m. or here on midnight. We're also streaming here on Facebook on KSLA News 12, their Facebook page, as well as on YouTube. And we are also streaming on the KSLA News 12 app here. So if you want to ask any questions, make your way to either the YouTube stream or on the Facebook stream. We'll be answering those questions live here on the stream for you guys here. So let's dive into the looking at what's going on outside as of right now here. Let's take a live look outside through our KSLA tower camera, sponsored by Mattress Plus. We're looking at some low cloud cover, as well as maybe even some foggy conditions here, and it's just setting the stage for the potential for some strong to severe storms here around the region. It's definitely a dreary looking scene as we start off this brand new weekend, and this new weekend has a very rough start here as we're expecting these strong to severe storms around the region this afternoon and evening. Here's a look at live first alert Doppler radar. And as you can see, not much is really going on here within the Arklatex. But as you can see, just outside of the region, to the north and to the west here, there are strong to severe storms making their way into the Dallas-Fort Worth area as of right now. These are the storms that we will have to deal with through the rest of this afternoon, this upcoming afternoon, and into this evening here. So any Valentine's Day dates that you may have, you may want to do it during the daytime, even from now until maybe around 5 p.m. If you live in the Shreveport-Bossier area, we can expect these storms more than likely by around 5 p.m. or 4 to 5 p.m. is around the time frame that we are looking at here for when these storms will arrive in the Shreveport-Bossier area. But we'll go into the details of all the timing in your individual cities in just a second here. These are the storms that we have to deal with, and also today is a KSLA First Alert Weather Day as a result of these storms moving into the Arklatex later on today. But as you can see, not much is really going on here as of right now. But there's also parades rolling starting at 1 p.m. And thankfully, the crew of Gemini is starting at 1 p.m. as opposed to 3 p.m. because by the time the parade is wrapping up, those severe storms will have rolled into the Arklatex or rolled into the Shreveport-Bossier area by that time frame if it had started at 3 p.m. But thankfully, it moved that back a couple hours to start at 1 p.m. And by the time it ends, which will more than likely be at around the 3 p.m. hour, maybe just a little bit later than that, it should be enough time for you guys to get back home and get back into your safe spaces before those storms arrive within around an hour or two afterwards. Here's our forecast for the Crew of Gemini parade, by the way, for Saturday, February 14th. We are expecting a couple isolated showers, though, as you're out at the parades. The parade rolls at 1 p.m. and it rolls until maybe around 3 to 3:30, I would say. So make sure to bring an umbrella as you're heading out the door. Do not forget that umbrella. Do not forget the raincoat, as we are still expecting some scattered showers and maybe a few rumbles of thunder in areas around the Shreveport-Bossier area, as well as north and west of Shreveport within the Arklatex as well here. I'm going to go through the forecast as a whole, and then I'm going to get to any questions that you may have here in the comments here. But let's dive into future track and what we can expect through the rest of today. Here's one out of two models here that I will show just to show you guys the consensus, or give you guys a consensus between the models here, what we're thinking on what we can see through the rest of today. I'm going to move myself off of the screen just so you guys can see it all the way through. And as you can see, we will be dealing with these storms rolling into the Arklatex, mainly into our far northwestern portions of the region. As you can see, those stronger storms will start to form and by the time we hit the early afternoon hours here. Some of these could be strong, some of these could turn severe at times here. But in those areas, there is not a chance for severe weather as of right now. There is not a chance for severe weather in areas north of the I-30 corridor, but there is as the system moves towards the I-20 and southward for sure. But as you can see, moving towards around 5 p.m. as of the latest model runs, there is a bit of it. I believe the storms will be approaching the Shreveport-Bossier area here, but not just yet hitting it, according to this model. But it should reach into the Shreveport-Bossier area by the time we're around 5:30, I would say. According to this model, by the way, we should see these storms making their way through the rest of the Arklatex, through the rest of the early evening hours. And as a result of this model shows that these storms are the front line of these storms, which is more than likely going to be the heaviest storms here along that line. Should exit the Arklatex by the time we hit around 9 p.m. here, or finally start to exit the region by around 9 p.m. And by the time we hit around 11 p.m., just after the 10 p.m. show, we should be dealing with rain showers down to our far south and east, and maybe a couple of isolated showers into our areas around I-20 here. But we could still see some wraparound showers there as we move throughout the rest of the overnight hours, as you can see with that curvature of the storm. And pretty much that's when the storm will be, or the low pressure system as a whole will be maturing and moving out of the region. But we should see mostly dry conditions and mostly cloudy conditions heading towards the early morning hours for Sunday. Now, I'm going to give you a look at the second model here that we are also looking at and taking into consideration as well. I believe this one gave a bit later timing as compared to the first model here. But as we move towards around the noon hour and into the early afternoon, those storms should finally enter those portions north of the I-30 corridor and then northwestern portion of the region. But a line of storms will start to form soon afterwards. Around 3 p.m. is when we can see those line of storms start to trek down to the south and east much faster as compared to the early afternoon here. And we should see those storms exit or enter the Shreveport-Bossier area for those listening in Shreveport by around 6 p.m., I would say. The stronger line of storms, that is. And we should see those storms continue to make their way down to the southeastern portion of the region through the rest of the afternoon. But as you can see by that Boeing type of shape that it has here, as you can see, I can't really show you guys. I don't believe I can show you guys as of right now, but there is a type of a Boeing type of shape here, ranging from Texarkana all the way down to just south of Longview. That denotes the damaging wind threat associated with these storms here. So damaging winds will be a main factor from these storms, as well as heavy rainfall associated with these storms. So we'll have to watch out for damaging winds and heavy rainfall as these storms enter the Arklatex and roll through the region. And as it makes its way into northwestern Louisiana, that's when we can start to see the potential for severe weather grow here. And as you can see, by 9 p.m., the storms will still be moving through the Arklatex. As mentioned before, this model shows a bit later timing as compared to the first model that I just showed here. And that's why in my messaging, I've been saying that the storm should move out as late as around the 11 p.m. hour for tonight here. Just a consensus between both of the models. We still should see a couple of isolated showers left behind that front, but the wraparound showers will still be left to move through the rest of the Arklatex, bringing some more heavy rainfall. But by this time frame, the severe weather threat should have died down just a bit as compared to how high it may be during this evening here. But these wraparound showers should exit the Arklatex by the time we reach just before sunrise on Sunday. And as we're moving into the early morning hours of Sunday, as you're heading to early morning church services, you guys will have not much of a problem with any types of rainfall, not much of a problem at all with any types of rainfall as this system finally exits the region. We may deal with some windy conditions out there throughout Sunday, but these clouds will hang around the region throughout the morning hours, and they should exit by the time we hit the evening. Here's a look at our storm timeline associated with these storms here. From around noon to 6 p.m., I would say these storms should be moving through those areas in the darker orange color that you see there on the screen. From 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. is when those areas in the midsections of the Arklatex will be dealing with the stronger to severe storms. And by the time it reaches the far southeastern portion of the region around 7 p.m., it should last as late as around 11 p.m. tonight here. I'm going to check the chat to see if anybody's asking any questions. Somebody says is watching from Texarkana. Thanks for the update. Appreciate the update. Okay, so everybody's listening. That's a good sign here. That's a good sign. So once again, here's a storm timeline for you. 12 to 6 p.m. around for areas like Idabel, DeQueen, Texarkana, more than likely going to see these storms by the later part of that time frame, more than likely by around, I would say, 4 to 6 p.m. for Texarkana area. Mount Pleasant, Atlanta, right on the very edge of that line. Carthage, Nacogdoches, those areas will be receiving these storms through the time frame of noon to 6 p.m. From 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. for areas like Shreveport, Bossier, more than likely seeing these storms by 5 to 6 p.m. In the afternoon for today. Mansfield, Minden, Magnolia, Hope, and Center. You guys are you all will be in the area between 4 to 9 p.m. this afternoon, and for areas like Lucky, Arcadia, Natchitoches, Manny, Winfield, Jackson Parish, Ruston, Minden. Minden, I believe, is in the mid sections of that region, but Ruston for sure is in the area where you will be seeing these storms from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. tonight here. Now, here's the overall severe risk that we can expect for these storms in its entirety. Saturday afternoon and into this evening here, it shows that areas in the far southern portions of the Arklatex will be under a level 2 out of 5 slight risk for severe weather. And this means that there's a slightly higher chance for severe weather as compared to the green zone, which is a level 1 out of 5 on a marginal risk for severe weather. And the higher chances, the individual threats that have the higher chance in those yellow zones are sadly, the isolated tornadoes as well as the damaging wind threat. But the flash flooding threat appears to be the highest for the far northern portions of the Arklatex, when those storms will be first and foremost moving through the Arklatex early in the afternoon for today. That's when I believe they will have the heaviest rainfall. They will see the most rainfall out of those systems. And once those storms move swiftly across the rest of the region, we won't get as much rainfall as the northern portions of the Arklatex, especially by Texarkana, DeQueen, and portions of southwestern Arkansas as well. We could see around 1 to 2 inches for mainly areas south of I-30, but those areas north of I-30 could see 2 to 3 inches possibly from this system alone here. Here's the individual severe risks that we can expect here. For today, there is a low chance for tornadoes and large hail. Hail is still possible, but it looks to be at the lower end of the scale, and it looks to be a bit more possible for our westernmost zones as compared to everywhere else, mainly in East Texas as compared to everywhere else. But once those storms finally make its way through the Arklatex from the north and west, strong winds and flash flooding will be the main threats associated with these storms here. But once it moves down to the southern portion of the Arklatex, isolated tornadoes cannot be ruled out, if that makes sense out there. There's also an excessive rainfall risk here for today. And as mentioned before, good deal of rainfall is expected, especially for the northern half of the region and areas around I-20 as well. They can receive 1 to 2 inches between areas south of I-30 and between I-20 and I-30 as well. And for those in the far southern portions of the Arklatex, you guys will receive the least amount of rainfall, mainly around an inch of rain. But for areas north of I-30, you will definitely have the highest risk for flash flooding concerns out there. As you can see, areas, localized areas get up to around 3 inches from the system alone. Here's a look at future track rainfall here. I would take this with a little bit of a grain of salt here, but you can see that the higher rain totals will be in areas north of I-30. That just shows you that we could definitely see some flash flooding concerns out there for areas north of I-30 there. But we could see some localized areas in East Texas as well as northwest Louisiana get up to around an inch to an inch and a half. We could see up to 2 inches, as mentioned before, as forecasted for before. But for the far easternmost zones, may not see as much rainfall as everywhere else. East Texas, northern portions of the region will see the higher rainfall totals, especially the northern portions that are north of the I-30 corridor, as you can see there on the screen. Okay, somebody has a quick question for us here in the comments. I'm going to put that on the screen for you guys. Mr. Chris Allen says, what time will this be in the Marshall area? So let's go back to future track rainfall for you guys. Just to show you guys. Oh, not future track rainfall. That was the one I was on the screen. Let's go back to the storm timeline for you guys. Storm timeline for areas in East Texas. For Marshall, pretty much is on the very edge on that line where it shows the noon to 6 p.m. timeline. So I would expect you guys to be in a bit of a later timing. For Marshall, I would pretty much say you guys will more than likely see these storms by the time you hit around 4 p.m. in the afternoon. 4 p.m. is when you should definitely expect these storms to roll through your area. And by the time you hit around 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., you should already be preparing, know where your safe space is, and make sure you have all the essentials just in case you lose power out there due to the potential lightning and the potential severe winds that may be expected, the damaging winds that may be expected from these storms. You could also expect some heavy rainfall at times as well. So just be prepared. Get to have the essentials that you may need out there, food and water, just in case you lose power. And make sure to have your safe space, just in case if any of these storms turn severe, let alone any of these storms produce tornadoes. You'll definitely want to have a safe space, which is an interior room. Interior room meaning a room that has, four walls around you and no connections to the outside, no doors to the outside, no front doors, no windows. Please, no windows. And this is the best rooms for this will be a closet that is inside of your house or inside of your apartment room, wherever you stay, your shelter, or a bathroom that has no windows or connections to the outside as well. All good choices, or both good choices for safe spaces. Another question says, what about Tyler, from Don Lee? For Tyler, Texas, more than likely, just Tyler, Texas is far east of our region, just outside of our DMA, but more than likely you guys can receive those storms within the next few hours or so, I believe. Let's go back to First Alert Doppler radar and show you guys exactly where the storms are just to the west of us. I'm going to take the future track, or not future track, but First Alert Doppler radar all the way out here. As you can see, those storms are moving in pretty fast into the Dallas-Fort Worth area. More than likely by around noon is when Tyler could see those storms, or as early as around 11 a.m., I would say. But you guys could still receive storms from, I would say, now until 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. You guys could receive those scattered showers and maybe a few rumbles of thunder as well, just before that strong line of stronger storms starts to move through your area in Tyler. Okay, I just talked about the Texarkana area, but I can go over that really fast once more. Texarkana, more than likely to see these storms move into those areas by around 4 p.m., I would say. They're on the very edge of that line where I showed the noon to 6 p.m. storm timeline. So I would say around 4 p.m. for the Texarkana area. Somebody said, what about Mooringsport? More than likely by around 5. You guys just to the north and west of Shreveport. 4 to 5 p.m. is your time frame for when those storms will be moving through your area. 11 Southern Hills. What about tornadoes in my area, from Miss Judy Grimes? She says, I live in Southern Hills. What about tornadoes in my area? So tornadoes look to be at a low risk, but they're not out of the question just yet. For those under the marginal risk for severe weather, I'm going to put that back on the screen here just real fast for you guys, or for you all. But as you can see in the green color, level 1 out of 5 marginal risk for severe weather is in place for areas like Longview, Shreveport, Ruston, Minden, Marshall, Tyler. All those areas along the I-20 corridor are under a marginal risk for severe weather. And I'm going to go into detail about the individual tornado risk here, which is at a low chance as of right now, but it's not out of the question just yet. So any risk or any chance for tornadoes, we have to take it very, very seriously, because it could still happen at a 2% risk or at a 60% risk here. So let's put this on the screen here. This is the individual risks for today. And it shows, I'm going to put this full screen here for you guys. And I'm going to take this off of the screen. Okay, let's see. Well, it shows that, I'm going to put this back on the screen here. It shows that the tornado risk for day 1, which is today, this late afternoon and into the evening, it shows that there's a 2% risk for tornadoes for areas around Shreveport, Bossier, as well as Longview and Ruston, all under that marginal risk for severe weather as well, in the green color that you see there on the screen. But for the far southern portion of the Arklatex, they have a slightly higher chance for tornadoes as we move into this afternoon and into this evening as well here. So yeah, they have a slightly higher chance of tornadoes for this afternoon and evening, but for those near dealing with damaging winds as well as other threats like damaging winds and flash flooding. They have a slightly higher chance for severe weather as they have a slightly higher chance. I believe the flash flooding risk is a bit higher in the DMA, more than likely in the northern areas like north of I-30, as you can you won't be able to see that if the system's acting a little bit slow here. So that's why I'm looking back and forth so much. Somebody asked about Mansfield. Somebody asked about Mansfield wind speeds here. Mansfield wind speed, more than likely going to see winds get up to around 60 miles per hour. If there's definitely a severe storm, we could see winds up to around 60 miles per hour. Let's see. I'm going to try to log back into the system to see if it's going to start working here again. All right, there we go. Now moving on to the damaging wind risk here. Day one, it shows that the marginal risk will be under a 5% risk for damaging winds. But once again, we have to take that very, very seriously. Damaging winds is possible for areas around I-20 and southward. Slightly higher chance for damaging winds in the far southern portions of the Arklatex, which I just showed there before in the yellow color, 15%. But this is all according to the Storm Prediction Center, by the way. Large hail risk is little to none for the Arklatex, but it's still, I would say it's still possible here for the Arklatex. I don't want to let my guard down on that, but it's still very much possible. Let's take this back to First Alert Doppler radar and talk about what's in the chat here. Somebody asked about Pineville and Bossier City. All right, let's talk about Future Track real fast here. Let's go back to Future Track just to show you guys what may go on once again. Actually, I'm going to show this Future Track, which seems to be a bit more accurate here, which is the later timing. What I was talking about before. I talked about two models that I showed here on the stream. And we usually look at both to find out a consensus, what we think in our heads, what is going to happen. But I believe that this model seems to be a bit more accurate because it lines up with our timing graphic as well. So Future Track shows that we can expect these scattered showers and storms to move into the Arklatex here through the late morning and into the early afternoon hours here. This is just before that main line of showers and storms will roll through the Arklatex. It will start to form here during the early afternoon here, and as you can see, moving into those Tyler areas by around noon and into the early afternoon as well, and into areas north of the I-30 corridor. But as it moves slowly but surely down to the southeastern portions of the Arklatex there, we can expect those storms to start to get a bit more stronger here. The damaging wind threat will start to come out, and the isolated tornado threat may not come out until we reach into the later afternoon and into the later afternoon and into the evening hours for today. So yeah, we won't have to worry much about that. Let's see if I can get these questions off of the screen. I'll be thinking about that while I'm still talking here. Oh, somebody is asking questions in the YouTube chat. How many inches of precipitation is expected? How bad is the wind going to be in North Sabine here? So we're going to be diving into those details in just a bit, right after Future Track. We're going to be finishing what I'm talking about here. Once these storms slowly make their way into the midsections of the region, that's when we can start to see some of the stronger storms come out here. And for the far southern portion of the Arklatex, that's where we can start to see potentially maybe a few spin-ups or maybe one or two spin-ups here. And it will slowly continue to make its way through the rest of the Arklatex as we move into the later afternoon and into the evening hours. By around 9 p.m., I would say, it'll be more than likely the stronger storms will be in Natchitoches Parish and ranging all the way into Wynn and Jackson Parish there. And it should slowly make its way through the rest of the Arklatex by the time we hit the around 11 p.m. hour here. As late as around 11 p.m., those stronger storms will finally exit the Arklatex. And we'll be dealing with those lighter showers and still a few rumbles of thunder. And we'll have some wraparound showers and wraparound heavy rain showers at that as we move through the rest of the overnight hours into our early Sunday morning. And as we move into early Sunday morning, mostly dry conditions are expected across the area, and we should be all in the clear from any types of severe weather through the rest of the weekend. Hopefully that answered all of your questions there. Let's see here. But yes, hopefully that answered all of your questions there. And I believe somebody asked about. Somebody said that this is ruby red slippers weather. I'm not sure exactly what this means here. Maybe it means that it's relating to the my mind is blanking. Maybe that relates to the Dorothy. I can't remember that movie, man. The where Dorothy was swept away by a tornado. Anyways, I should definitely remember that, but my mind is blanking on the movie. My mind is in severe weather mode right now, so maybe I shouldn't be joking about that. But let's go back to the First Alert Doppler radar and just showing you guys exactly what's going on as of right now and what we have ahead of us here. If you guys have any more questions here, I'll stay on for just a little bit longer just to show you guys exactly what's going on right now, what we can expect through the rest of today. Make sure to make your way to the YouTube stream or into the Facebook stream just to answer any or ask any questions that you may have. I'll try to get to them as quickly as possible. And I'll also be streaming later on today when the storms finally move into the Arklatex, as well as when they start to get a bit more stronger and more severe here for the Arklatex as well. So make sure to stay tuned for that as well. Okay. Just joining. How is Shreveport looking? Right now, Shreveport is looking just fine, as you can see there from Nicole Princess Wright. We are looking at a couple isolated showers here as of right now in the Shreveport Bossier area, but not much is really going on here. Just mostly cloudy skies, and it's a dreary look across the area as of right now here. Let's take a look at our John Harvey Toyota Sky Camera. Mostly cloudy conditions are ongoing right now, as well as gloomy looking conditions right now as well. And here's another look through our Mattress Plus tower camera. This is overlooking, this is right at the station actually, overlooking, trying to look at downtown Shreveport, but can't see it because it's so foggy out there and so many low clouds ongoing right now in this Shreveport Bossier area. So it's a pretty dreary look. And yes, it is definitely a very rainy Valentine's Day, as somebody has said in the chat as well. But yeah, it's definitely a dreary looking scene here around the region as of right now. Somebody asks, are tornadoes looking likely in Shreveport, Bossier, or more south? They are looking a bit more likely in the far southern portions of the Arklatex. So to answer their question there, they're looking a bit more likely for areas south of the I-20, far south of I-20, more than likely in Sabine Parish, southern Natchitoches Parish, I would say, and in those areas as well, far southeastern Texas, and into central Louisiana as well. They're a bit more likely. Let's look at temperatures right now. I don't believe I showed temperatures currently. We're currently sitting at a very comfortable spot in the upper 50s and lower 60s across the region. 59 for Minden, 65 for Natchitoches, 63 for Magnolia and Bienville, 60 by DeQueen, and 62 for Marshall, 63 also for Nacogdoches. We're expecting these temperatures to reach as high as around the upper 60s and lower 70s across the region for most of us here. Lower 60s are possible for Idabel and DeQueen, more than likely because they're going to receive rain pretty soon here. So that's going to stop their temperature rise for the daytime hours once they receive rain, and especially once that stronger line of storms makes it through the region. But for those that may not receive the rain until later, that's where temperatures will be a bit higher here. 73 for Natchitoches, 70 by Shreveport, 69 for Minden, and 70 by Nacogdoches, as well as Center and San Augustine. Let's see if there's any more questions in the chat. Somebody asks, how bad is it in Houston, Texas? So Houston, Texas, I don't believe they will be under. Let's take a quick look at the severe weather outlook for Houston. It looks like they may be under a slight risk for severe weather, but let me see if I can zoom out a little bit here. I'm gonna try to see if I can zoom out here onto this screen. Okay, let's take this a bit southward. So yes, Houston is under a slight risk for severe weather for today. That's that That's where I'm about to circle. If I can circle here, this is exactly where Houston is. I'm gonna zoom into it. If you don't know already, that's the bigger city down in the Gulf Coast states. This is exactly where Houston is. They're under a level 2 out of 5, slight risk for severe weather. It's not highlighted like everywhere else up here in the northern Arklatex, but they are under a slight risk for severe weather, so they can expect the same threats as compared to areas that are under the yellow and within the Arklatex. So a higher chance for tornadoes, higher chance for stronger winds, and believe they will receive a good deal of rainfall as well. So make sure to stay weather aware for those areas that they are just outside of our DMA or our designated market area, but they are still going to see severe weather for today. So make sure to tune into your local forecast over there. We'll be talking more here within the Arklatex around the Shreveport-Bossier area and areas surrounding it, as you can see there on the screen, more through the later today. But I could definitely talk a little bit more about Houston later on today as well. All right, I hope I answered everyone's questions here. I'm going to be hopping off of the live stream in just a minute or two. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this live stream. Make sure to stay weather aware through the rest of today, and where we'll be talking about what we can expect in terms of these storms here. They could get strong to severe at times, so make sure to have a severe weather plan in place and a place to stay just in case severe weather impacts your area as well here. Thank you guys once again for tuning into tuning into this stream and tuning into me talking here. Once again, today we're going to be seeing these storms move into the Arklatex by the time we hit the midday hours for today, as well as into this afternoon and into this evening here. Actually, I'm going to take that off of the screen. There we go. Sorry, that was a little bit of a bug there. But yeah, we should start to see these storms move into the Arklatex by around noon today and into the afternoon and into the evening as well. Make sure to stay weather aware. We'll have more updates as we get closer in time. I'll more than likely be back on in the early afternoon. So make sure to watch out for those updates here on the KSLA News 12 app and here on Facebook as well. I'm going to be ending off this live stream here. Thank you guys once again for tuning into this stream for today. And I will see you guys on the next one.